As the new leader of the Decepticons, I command you to subscribe to Spurs in Focus.
From outer space to San Antonio. Splash! Go Spurs, go! And that is nothing but net.
Your San Antonio Spurs are going to the Western Conference Finals to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Welcome to a live episode of Spurs in Focus right here on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Amazon Podcast. Go subscribe right now. Go subscribe to Substack too, Spurs in Focus Substack, completely free. You want to do that right now. The guy you see on your screen right now next to me, that is Mr. Rudy Campos of The Sports Answer. He is on X at The Sports Answer. I am Jeff Garcia, longtime Spurs writer in San Antonio. Follow me on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Yeah, you heard me right at the intro. Your Spurs that maybe will win about 40-ish games, preseason. Yeah, no, they're on their way to the Western Conference Finals after taking care of business in Game 6, beating the Timberwolves 139-109. Yes, it was a wire-to-wire win for your Spurs. Got a little scary for one moment, but that's about it. It was a dominant performance from top to bottom. We're going to get into our general thoughts, our takeaways. I have a graphic for you guys that's going to have 3 takeaways from me. That guy, Rudy, he's going to give you his, and then we're going to give our reaction to what was the turning point of the game, standout stats, standout players, and then you guys, Spurs in Focus fans, leave a comment. Rudy's watching them, and apparently, Rudy, we brought in an alien that can shoot 3-pointers or half-court shots now here on Spurs in Focus.
Yeah, we brought in a little graphic from our great producer Shemaya Reed, where it's on the Sports Answer show on the Friday Drive, but we're also putting it on Spurs in Focus too. Yeah. But don't forget, Jeff, I had to go with another name because it's Rudy. I don't know ball, Campos Jr.
I saw that, man. Yeah, some guy pushed back on you today.
Yeah, apparently because of my De'Aaron Fox. Because of my De'Aaron Fox take, I should not talk Spurs basketball. Yeah. I don't know basketball. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't call Spurs in 6. No, I didn't call Spurs in 5 against Portland.
Or Fox to San Antonio, right?
I didn't call Fox to San Antonio almost a year and a half before it happened. I mean, I don't know anything, Jeff. Trust me. Yeah. I don't know why you.
But that's like the go-to argument for everybody, isn't it?
Oh, I know.
It's the go-to thing. You can just smoke somebody in a discussion, and they go, you don't know ball, and it's simple as that.
Well, I like it because the guy had to create a Twitter profile to get 16 followers just to come at me to say that. I guess. I mean,
somebody has a burner. Somebody has.
Hopefully, it's Kevin Durant. Hopefully, he heard me on the Friday Drive earlier today with Derek. So, who cares?
Yeah, and by the way, you also didn't call that Harper was going to be the goods too.
Oh no, completely not. I sneezed and actually put him number 1 on my prospect board. I didn't even say he was going to be good at Rutgers. I said he was going to be terrible. So I mean,
there you go.
Screw it.
Oh, Rudy Campos. Yeah, don't worry, Rudy. The tide will turn. The tide will turn soon. But hey, everybody, again, we're going to react to the Spurs big time Game 6 win. It was. Let me. It wasn't close, yes, by the scoreboard. They got a little nervous in the second period. We're going to get into that and so much more. Let's start it off. What do we think about the win? First of all, a wire-to-wire win for your Spurs. They came out and they punched first. They had, I believe, it was like an 18-5 lead to start the first quarter. The Timberwolves, throughout the game, Rudy, had no answer for the Spurs. Even when they made their massive push, by that point, the Spurs had a 29-point lead. Mm-hmm. Yes. We're going to be nitpicking here because it really was a dominant performance. The stats show you just how dominant it was. But that's how much of a dominant performance. They were leading by nearly 30 points at one point, 29 points for your silver and black. That's the type of dominance you need in a closeout game. That's what you need from your young Spurs that have practically zero playoff experience. Mm-hmm. And Rudy, what I liked about it too is that was what I was nervous about heading into the game, is like, how are they going to handle a closeout game on the road against a Minnesota team that's been there, done that, and is on their, in backed into a corner. And wow, they just put it on the Timberwolves. So they took care of business early, weathered the storm, and then second half, It was not even a contest. It was just total destruction pretty much for the entire game. So right off the bat, coming out strong, held the poise, held composure. Those are some thoughts I just I want to start those off with. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest game to close out a series is the clinching game itself. I mean, it's hard to close out a series, especially against a good team like Minnesota. But the Spurs came out, I mean, extremely hot, 36-27 after the first quarter. Of course, when they had a 29-point lead, some local media guy said start honking, and I was like, come on, man, you can't do that. Don't know who that was. But nonetheless, when he put that, they ended up making a comeback. They had got it down to, I believe it was like 12 at one point. And you started to think, okay, this is that Minnesota run. Spurs kept their composure, something that has been a key word all season long for San Antonio. When we expected the wheels to fall off, they never did. Kept their composure. They kept doing what they do. Locked down on the defensive side, continued to draw fouls, frustrate Minnesota to the point, Jeff, where we saw Chris Finch and the rest of the starters quit and just not playing in the fourth quarter with about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They decided to just throw up the white flag, throw in the towel. I would say, man, I mean, it was pretty much a Drago against Apollo Creed match tonight. The stats, we're going to get into stats later, but overall, this is the dominance of a Spurs team that is A, focused, and B, I mean, Jeff, again, because I don't know ball, I'm going to mention this. You have to give credit to not just the players, but the coaching staff, man.
Yes.
This is a coaching staff where Sean Sweeney is probably the most experienced playoff coach. I mean, they have done a remarkable job putting these players in the best possible position to win every single game. They've looked dominant. It's going to be a tough series against OKC, but I'm going to tell you what, this coaching staff is going to make the right adjustments. They're going to capitalize on what they did in the regular season. Congratulations to the Spurs. You beat Minnesota. You are one series away from going back to the NBA Finals.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Again, a team that was projected to win about 44, 45, mid-40 range team to start the season, and here they are knocking on the door of the NBA Finals. First, got to get through Oklahoma City. We're obviously going to talk about that on Spurs in Focus this upcoming week and so many more, but a little bit maybe tonight. One other thing I want to talk about the Game 6 win, Rudy, is this. What I saw from this team was a killer instinct. A killer instinct. Collectively and then individually. Castle was relentless. Wemby was just being Wemby and taking care of business. Harper was being relentless. Carter Bryant was giving that energy and being relentless. This was a team that was looking to punch their ticket to the Western Conference Finals, and they did that. So they had that eye of the tiger. They did. Yeah. Just because you mentioned Drago and Apollo, I had to say, oh,
come on, man.
Yeah. So they had the eye of the tiger, and it showed. You know that viral photo of Victor at the free throw line in Game 5 and all laser focus? I saw that from the entire team, and during the game, I was saying, I don't see that from Minnesota. Yeah, a little bit from Ant, in the second period, more on that in a bit. But Randall, I'm surprised Minnesota fans are now on the street with pitchforks right now. That's wanting him out of a Minnesota jersey. You didn't get much from Nas.
Yeah, Edwards, you got 18. Nas was just third leading scorer at 18. I mean, Nas Reed's the truth. He's a good guy. But go ahead.
He is a good guy. But my point is that you didn't see that we're backed into the corner. We got to survive and win mode from Minnesota. And I think the Spurs just pretty much deflated them from the beginning. I think they just deflated them. And if you really look about the series too, most of the Spurs win, probably all the Spurs wins were just destruction. They just left no doubt. And Minnesota had to have things go their way. Wemby, elbow, he's ejected, took advantage of it, they win. Spurs, Fox and Wemby both had bad games in Game 1. They admitted it. And, Minnesota took advantage. So things had to happen for Minnesota more so than the Spurs. But when the Spurs were focused and together and everybody's, playing, they were clearly clearly the better team. There was no doubt about it. This was the better team ultimately. Rudy, I'm surprised this didn't end up in a sweep. I think it should have been a sweep. But let me ask you this, though.
No.
If we can get into the timeline now, the multiverse, does it change if Dante was playing?
That is a very good question. And that's something that Derek and I had kind of talked about. And I'll say this much, it would have made a difference as far as the game being a lot closer. The Spurs still would have won the series no matter what, but you wouldn't see 139-109. I mean, you would have probably saw maybe in the 15, 14-point range and consider that a blowout with Dante DiVincenzo. He makes a difference, Jeff, but he doesn't make enough of a difference to where the Timberwolves had a legitimate shot against San Antonio. I mean, you would have had to have seen a Superman performance by Anthony Edwards, and you really only got that in one game in this series from him. So you would have had to have seen another Superman performance from Anthony Edwards, and that would have given Minnesota a chance. The other guy that Minnesota, really relied on and came through in just about every game is the guy that took an elbow from Wemby, and that's Naz Reid. I mean, he got that big contract. He's the reason why Minnesota is actually one of the better teams in the Western Conference. So Naz Reid did his job. Anthony Edwards did his job for the most part. Yeah, a lot of other guys didn't come to play. But Dante DiVincenzo, he makes a difference, but not as big of a difference as a lot of people would assume. And again, it would have been Spurs in 6. I mean, to be honest, they probably should have been Spurs in 5 with that elbow not happening. You're more than likely seeing Spurs in 5. But thank you, Victor, for the elbow. I got another series right. Spurs in 6. They ended up winning, moving to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, I thought you don't know ball, Rudy. You don't know ball.
I know nothing about basketball. I mean, we're
have it in your name too. We can see it. It says Rudy. I don't know.
I really hope that Twitter guy is watching, because if I don't know ball, he needs to come on and tell me I don't know ball. I mean, I don't.
They won't. They do a lot of this, but they never do anything in real time.
Keyboard
in real time. But overall, this was a great win for a young team. For a team that's described as they have no playoff experience, and technically that's true. Sure don't look like it to me. It sure didn't look like to me in a closeout game on the road versus a back-to-back team going to the Western Conference Finals. They look like they have been more postseason than the Wolves did. They really, really did. They just have more talent, more depth. The injury bug didn't hit them as much as it hit Minnesota, whether it be Naz Reid being banged up, Dante being out. Even prior to the game, Shannon was 50-50, questionable, because of a head contusion. So they were just really banged up. And you saw contributions, not only just from the starters for San Antonio, but Luke Cornett just doing a damn good job spelling Victor when he was out. And you didn't really see too much drop off. I mean, he had 4 blocks in the game. And just the defense was still stellar with Cornett. Mentioned Carter Bryant bringing that energy. Everybody chipped in positively whenever the Spurs they had them out there on the court. All right, let me give you my 3 big takeaways here from the game, and I get them on your screen here. So right after, I think we hit it already. He jumped on Minnesota early. I think that was good. They set the tone. They set the standard. They already put Minnesota, up against the wall. So I'm glad they did that, and again led to the wire-to-wire win. And I like number 2. Let's get into it now. Whether the Minnesota rally. So even though it was a very lopsided game, and the Spurs had a 29-point lead at one point, Minnesota had a furious comeback in the second period going into halftime. Fortunately for the Spurs, they had such a big lead. They can weather that storm. They weathered that rally, had enough cushion. But before we get to number 3, and I think that's a big topic we're going to be talking about, is that still a concern for you going into the WCF, the Western Conference Finals? That this team, the Spurs, allow teams to come back like that.
What'd you say? You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you, yeah.
Oh, what'd you ask me? I thought you were still going with the thing. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I'm saying, is this still a concern for you that this Spurs team keeps on showing time and time again they let teams come back?
It's concerning, yeah. I mean, so I think I'm more concerned with them allowing teams, I love that Portland series, for getting off to really quick starts and bumping up to 15, 17-point leads. I'm more concerned over that than having a team rally. The Spurs thing is this. Mitch and the coaching staff, they do a tremendous job at calling timeouts at the right position. When they see that San Antonio is struggling to defend, they kind of change up their defense. They kind of make a couple of substitutions, and it has seemed to work all season long. It's not a really big concern for me right now. It's gonna be one of those things where when they play OKC in the Western Conference Finals, if they get up by 14, 15 points, OKC is the second best team in the league, number one overall in the league. But truly, if you think about it, they're still behind the Spurs. If you take what they did in the regular season, San Antonio technically has the better team, I think. And if the Spurs have a 15-point lead against OKC, that is one team that can erase that lead in a matter of a few minutes. So it's not concerning now. It's concerning against OKC. But I will say this team has grown up since the regular season. They are not playing these playoffs like rookies at all. It seems like they've played there. They've been there before. They've experienced. And it just comes down to really, Jeff, it's like we've said, they don't really care what anybody says. They're not worried about anything. Right. If they lose, no big deal. If they lose a lead, if they're up 20, they recoup, they regroup, they come back, and everything's fine again. So I'm not as concerned as probably a lot of other people are. I will be shaking my head and biting my nails if it happens maybe in 2 games in this series, or if it happens in multiple games, then it's a concern. But I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at all. I mean, I'm going to be real with you. It's hard for me to see it happening in this playoffs.
No, it really is. And finally, I think this is kind of like the big story for me is the play of the guards led by Steph Castle. The guards were dominant versus Minnesota. So I got the numbers here, everybody. This is staggering. So for the game, Harper, Fox, Castle combined for 68 points of the Spurs, total points to win the game, 139, obviously. So that's nearly half. 20 rebounds combined between the three, 17 assists. They shot 16 of 21 from inside the three-point line. And outside the three-point line, collectively, they go 9 for 13, good for 69%. Rudy, I thought this trio of guards doesn't work. I thought there's only one basketball. It can't work. I thought they can't shoot. Well, in a closeout game, in the playoffs, in the West Finals, semifinals, 69% shooting from the three shot, 76% shooting from inside the three line. They collectively had 3 blocks and collectively were a plus 70. This trio of guards just themselves alone, you practically didn't even need Victor in game 6 because these 3 guys would have handled business. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not the one that said this 3-guard rotation would have worked. I'm the one that said that you should play all 3 guys at the same time if needed. They would get you off to if these 3 guys started, they would get you off to a very fast start. I posed the question to Derek. You were watching earlier when I said, have you ever seen in NBA history a trio of guards like the Spurs have? None. Nowhere. I said the closest thing that you can get is Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway, and Chris Mullin. That is about the closest you have seen. And even at that, these Spurs guards play both ways, defensively and offensively. This is collectively the absolute 100%. And I challenge anybody out there to try to get me on this. You have never seen a trio of guards that this Spurs team has assembled. They are all important. They should all remain with the Spurs. I hear the salary cap talk all the time, but Dylan Harper you're getting 4 years of Dylan Harper on a rookie contract. You're going to get another, couple of years of Castle on a rookie contract. But guess what? They own the bird rights. You can match any offer and you can go above the cap space to pay for those players. So you're almost essentially talking 8, maybe 9 years of this trio of guards that are going to dominate the league for a very long time alongside the big guy in the middle and Victor Wembanyama, who's going to be a max guy, a super max guy here pretty soon. So, yeah, this trio of guards, Jeff, is unbelievable. It's going to be a reason why if they get to the NBA Finals, they could potentially win the NBA title. It's going to be because of Wemby. but it's going to be because there's really no way to stop this trio, especially with the emergence of Dylan Harper. Holy cow, man.
Yeah,
it just got so much better. OKC is the one team that can't do it. I will say that.
Yeah.
But you can slow them down. You just can't stop them.
So in the third period, was that they were, for the Spurs putting the team away, Minnesota away. This is what the trio of guards did in the third. They combined for 23 points. They were a plus 26 in the plus minus, 75% shooting from inside the 3 line and 66% shooting from the 3 line, going 4 for 6 collectively. So my goodness, just a dominant performance by the Spurs guards. But if there's one guy that stands out, it's Steph Castle. What a night that he had. 32 points, 11 rebounds, further with the triple-double, 6 assists, plus 28 on the night for San Antonio. And he did all that in just 29 minutes of action. And he only had 2 fouls. Way to go. Way to go, Steph. Good job. And only just 2 turnovers. So that's even good. He played a game. Just wow. And again, in that third period where the Spurs put away Minnesota, he contributed 11 points in the third. Just a balanced effort for him. 19 points in the first half, 13 points in the second half. Just complete and utter, he was the man tonight. And that's what makes the Spurs so deadly. Victor, he had a good game. Yes, we know that, right? But look, it's not all him. It doesn't have to be him all the time. Tonight, it was Castle leading the charge. And then there was Fox. And then there was Harper. And then there was Wemby. This is not a 3-headed snake. This is a 4 or 5-headed snake if it wants to be. You didn't mention Vassell. He could possibly be one of those dragon, triple dragons, King Ghidorah out there style. Yeah, so that's what makes this team so deadly. And if you're Oklahoma City, you got to be sweating this. You got to be sweating this game, upcoming series. But again, more on that later. What do you think about Steph Castle's play tonight?
He set the tone early, and that was super good for San Antonio. It was him and De'Aaron Fox got into it early as well.
Yep.
Both of those guys just dominated Minnesota, but Steph Castle bullied his way to the bucket. He made sure Minnesota knew that he was coming. 2 fouls only. I mean, I was like, wow, only 2 fouls on there. But also keep in mind 2 turnovers. I mean, Steph Castle has been known to turn over the ball a lot more than the other 2 guards have. But he's kept it real low. His 3-point shot was blowing super early as well. When Steph Castle gets going, especially beyond the arc to start the game, it's going to be a long night for the opposition. It showed tonight. Steph Castle in 30 minutes, 29 minutes, scored 32 points. I mean, that's the reason. Like you said earlier, and again, the pushback I got back was from a post that you posted about Termini and Johnson on radio, and how they said, De'Aaron Fox is at the bottom of the Spurs totem pole. It's not a bad thing. It's just you don't know which guy is going to be the man with these Spurs. It could be Victor on most nights. It could be Steph Castle like tonight. It could be De'Aaron with a quiet 18 points, but he has 10 in the fourth to close out a game. It could be Dylan Harper, who again scores 8 points in the fourth and is a difference maker. There's really no 1A on this team. There's like a 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. All these guys, to be real, they can lead another team if they really wanted to. I mean, you saw what De'Aaron Fox did in Sacramento. He led them to the playoffs. You see how Victor is. Steph Castle can go somewhere. Dylan Harper can go somewhere. They both can be leaders of a team. Steph Castle tonight, bonkers, man. Bonkers. And you're right. OKC's got to be concerned in a sense because they understand Spurs play physical. They play a ton of defense. They make it rough. They're not afraid to use a couple of fouls if need be. And they're not going to fall for the foul bait stuff. I mean, they really are not when it comes to OKC. So I would think that right now, Mark Dagnall is probably trying to figure out, okay, how do we stop them from getting into the paint, which OKC is really good about that. They're really good about stopping guards getting into the paint. But when the Spurs get going, it's difficult to stop these guys.
Yeah, it really, really is. And we didn't even touch on Fox's numbers here. Let me take off Castle here because he got enough shine, man. And deserves it. So he needed the most shine here. But just for Rudy Campos, we'll find a picture of Fox. Here it is. All right, so this is what your guy did: 21 points on the night, 4 rebounds, 9 assists in 24 minutes. And get this, Rudy, he did not even play the fourth period because it was well out of hand already. Plus 26 on the night for San Antonio. 1 turnover, 2 blocks, and 1 foul. And went to the free throw line twice, made them both. And 71% shooting from inside the 3 line.
Yeah.
In the first half, he scored 13 of his 21 points there. So, again, and Mitch Johnson said this about the guy you're seeing your screen right now following the win. He said Fox is a stabilizer. Fox is a guy you throw in there when the team needs to be settled down, that he's a calming presence for this team. So, and it proved it tonight because during that rally, the Spurs looked like they were about to get a haymaker. They survived it, but Fox was there. When the Wolves were storming back in that second quarter, he poured in 4 points. It was a +5 in the second quarter, excuse me. And no turnovers. He had a block, went to the free throw line twice, and all that's just helping to stem the tide that was seemingly turning at the point going into halftime. So Fox, getting recognized by the head coach, Mitch Johnson, following the game. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's not worth $60 million. He's terrible, Jeff. I mean, he's absolutely.
But you got to trade him, Rudy. You have to trade him.
You have to trade him. If you know ball, you know to trade De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron Fox, I mean, good God, Jeff, 24 minutes. Did he really have a better game than Victor Wembanyama? I mean, that's not possible. That's not possible. I mean, he only had 1 less block than Victor. He had 9 assists, 2 less rebounds, 2 more points. No, in all seriousness, man.
Yeah.
I mean, De'Aaron is that stabilizer. He's the reason why you made that trade for De'Aaron Fox. You Spurs fans always cried about not having a superstar coming to San Antonio. They get traded for De'Aaron Fox, and he ultimately becomes a whipping boy sometimes. But if you look at his numbers, he doesn't have to score 20 a game. I've been saying that since he got here. He can score 12 points, but those 12 points are meaningful. Yeah. Not every player is going to have a great game every single night. I mean, not everybody's Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or whoever.
Yeah.
So De'Aaron putting in 12 points, it's just the flow of the game is better with him. And remember, I had asked you last time we were doing the live, I said, focus on the lineups. When De'Aaron and Dylan Harper play, they play so different when it's De'Aaron and Castle or Harper and Castle. Tonight, when De'Aaron and Harper were on the court together, that's when the Spurs started to get that 12-point lead and started to build it up a little bit more. Castle was not on the court at that time. It was Fox and Harper, 2 guys that get to the basket, that can control the game and make it a little bit stable for San Antonio. De'Aaron Fox is definitely a keeper. He's definitely a guy you want on your team. He's growing with this, but get this. You're getting Dylan Harper learning from De'Aaron Fox, a really savvy, good guy, and a great veteran. You can't ask for much more. But yes, I mean, Fox is a stabilizer. Kudos to Mitch Johnson. I mean, he's saying all the right things about De'Aaron.
Yeah, one more thing before we get into the team stats and talk about how dominant performance is. Shout out Julian Champagnie. Finally had a pretty good game in a closeout Game 6 versus Minnesota. 18 points on the night. That's well above his series average of about 11.5. Shot the ball 44% from the 3 line, goes 4 for 9.
Yeah.
Again, well above his series average, 36%, which is still pretty good, but, for him to up it to 44% in the closeout game, that's even better. No turnovers on the night. He was a plus 35 for the Spurs when he was on the court. And for the series, he averaged a plus 12.7. So he really made an impact. Went to the free throw line 4 times and made them all. Just a great game from him. 5 rebounds, 2 assists in 25 minutes. Shout out Julian Champagnie. That's the type of punch they need from him. Because when he starts making those 3 shots, that floor gets wider and wider and wider for the guards, for Victor, and anybody else wants to take advantage of that. Rudy, we've been talking a lot about individual performances, but let's talk about the team now. So the Spurs never lost a period. They won every single quarter in the game, even in garbage time. So they meant business. They closed them out. Way to go, Spurs. All right. But let's focus on that second quarter. Again, we've been kind of dancing around it. 38-34, the Spurs won that period. We kind of hinted already. We talked about already the rally that Minnesota did that scared you. It scared all Spurs fans.
Yeah.
Do you think the Spurs could survive that type of rally versus an OKC Thunder team? So let's say the
Well-
Spurs put the Thunder on their heels, and then they come charging back.
Well, let me ask you this. The only fair way we can answer that is, do the Spurs have a 29-point lead?
Yeah, we got to get there first, right?
I mean, if you say that the Spurs are up 15, I don't think that's a safe lead at all against OKC. If you get them up 18, I'm a little bit better. I'm a little bit better with that, but I'm not quite there.
Yeah.
It'd have to be 22, 23 plus. And I'm like, okay, this is probably a good enough lead where they can withstand kind of a good run or a big run by OKC. It's something that you have to consider. It is a concern. I mean, it is a concern, but it's the resilience of this team. Every time that we've seen another team make a comeback, it's the quick timeout. It's the changing of the guard, basically bringing in some new players and maybe getting some. It's as simple as bringing in Carter Bryant, as we saw tonight, just to pester Anthony Edwards. I mean, you saw Carter Bryant come in and make a big difference just on the defensive side of things. So I think every lead San Antonio has, definitely you can say, is not safe because of our history with San Antonio basketball. We know that they like to blow it in the end. And famously, Charles Barkley said, the one thing I know guaranteed for the Spurs is that they're going to blow the lead in the fourth quarter. And that's what we've been used to. So when you see a team make a comeback, it's like, oh, here we go again. But again, this is not an old San Antonio team. This isn't a team that we've seen before. This is a whole new – Jeff, we've been blessed. Well, we've been blessed with Greg Popovich style of basketball. That was winning basketball. We've never seen a Spurs team play this style of basketball. This is Mitch Johnson style of basketball. So, yes, this is a new era. We cannot hang our hats on Spurs blowing leads anymore. It's going to happen. It happens to the best of the teams in the NBA. But this Spurs team, when they have a massive lead, they don't ever stop. They just keep going and they don't stop. Yeah, if they have a little bit of a hiccup, they bounce back. It just comes down to that. I don't think no lead is safe against OKC, but I feel more comfortable that this team could actually withstand a rally by OKC, but it has to be a big enough lead.
I was already calling game even during the
you called game at like 5 minutes into the first.
I mean that's how much I knew this team, Minnesota, was cooked.
Did you borrow my DeLorean? I mean, what the hell?
I must have. Don't tell anybody I took the keys when Rudy wasn't looking. But you could, and I'm not. This is not directed at you. Just in general, anybody could have seen that Minnesota didn't have the goods, the juice, the mojo to beat this team. Once the Spurs set the tone to start the game, that tone just told me everything. I said, "Oh, it's done. This game's over." And I was telling people just like, "Hey, yes, I would like this to go. This is how the game's going to go. Spurs are going to come out strong. Minnesota's going to make a run. Spurs are going to respond and then put the game away." I mean, and I was telling people like, "Hey, oh no, Minnesota's going to probably do another run even after the massive run, but the Spurs are still going to win." It didn't take a genius. They are on paper the better team. On paper, the series proved that. The stats proved that. Everything proved it. Minnesota was Anthony Edwards or bust at this point. You didn't get jack bleep from Randall. Nas did his best. Shannon did his best. Rudy didn't. Was Rudy even involved? Gobert? I mean, did he even show up? You got really nothing from a lot of a team that should have more help for Ant, and they didn't. And you could just see just how porous the Minnesota defense was. How many times did Harper just waltz into the lane and score a basket? It was just nothing. Cornette was looking like world versus Minnesota. No offense, Cornette, but it looked like Cornette was just playing great. Even again, anybody could have seen from the jump. It was done. I even texted you. I said, "Hey, Minnesota's not going to come back from this." And you're like, "Yeah, probably not." So it was easy to see. But how dominant was his performance? We talked about how many players for the Spurs were dominant individually, but collectively, they out-rebounded the Minnesota Timberwolves 60-29.
Yeah.
That is huge. 60-29. What about assists? 34-25. Spurs with the advantage. You go down the line here. What about field goal percentage? 56% shooting from the Spurs to 37% to the Wolves. Free throws, they got to the free throw line 27 times and connected on 85%, while the Wolves went to the line 21%. They connected on more three-pointers, 18 to the Wolves 12. I mean, I can go on and on here, just how lopsided it was. Offensive rebounds, Spurs got 12 of them. Minnesota got 9. Blocks, 13 blocks, and majority of those were not just from Victor, Cornette, Vassell, Harper, Fox. Everybody was getting the block party. It was just a dominant performance all the way around. Sure, the Wolves won a few categories here and there. They had more steals, fewer turnovers, but the major categories, second chance points. Remember that was a problem for the Spurs versus Minnesota? Yeah. Not tonight. 21-12, Spurs with the advantage. Fast break points, 17-5 Spurs. Biggest lead, it did get up to 37 points at one point, and largely in the second half, and that was just garbage time. The game was over so bad that during the game, Edwards walked to the Spurs bench with about 5-6 minutes left in the game clock and was already saying good game to everybody, going to all the players individually, shaking their hands, hugging Mitch Johnson. And then he just did his piece and he walked away because I'm pretty sure he just wanted to get the bleep out of there, the one where the buzzer was over. So let me be a good sportsman now before anybody says anything, because I just want to get the H out of here. I mean, I think that was going through his mind. My point is, it was just so lopsided. It wasn't even close, Rudy. It wasn't. No. Even if when Minnesota made the run, they still had a double-figure lead going into halftime.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was total domination by the Spurs. I mean, Minnesota's only chance to win a quarter was that second quarter. It was 38-34 scoring-wise. I mean, Jeff, if I'm going to nitpick one thing, I mean, the Spurs had a couple of turnovers tonight. I think they had 16 tonight, which is almost double what Minnesota had. So, I mean, that's really the only thing. And honestly, those turnovers were just careless mistakes. I mean, stuff you can clean up by just a film session. So, total dominance by the Spurs. I mean, again, I never have seen a team where it's like my largest lead is 37, and then I've never led the entire game. Spurs led the entire game. I mean, the only reason why, if you go to ESPN, it says 98% over 0% on largest lead or percent lead is because it was 0-0 for, to start the game. That's what it is. And that was the closest Minnesota was all night, was like 0-0. So it was a total dominant performance. 3-point shooting obviously is going to be key, especially if you're going into OKC, into that series. Spurs need to shoot the ball. They need to shoot roughly about 44-45% from beyond the arc against OKC to make it tough on them. You got to keep the turnovers down. But yeah, even the fast break point, that stands out to me, because they've been holding them to at least 7 fast break points or less, with the exception of the game 5 where Minnesota had 15. The Spurs still continue to hold Minnesota under 10 fast break points. They held them to 5 tonight. I don't even know if it's domination. I'm wearing my Screaming Chancla hat because, again, they just spanked the crap out of Minnesota. And you and I, being a Mexican heritage, know when the chancla comes out, you're in trouble.
It's over. You're done. It's over. Yeah. Just what an incredible game for a young team that wasn't even projected to be at this point, joining the OKC Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. But here we are. Vegas had the game at a 9.5 spread at one point prior to the game. And man, whoever betted against that probably won some coin tonight. For sure. If you took the over that night for tonight, you probably got a nice return. Man, what a game. But we're not done here. When we get back, we're going to take a little quick break. We're going to go to our turning point, standout stats, standout players, and then you guys, Spurs in Focus fans, what are you talking about? I see the messages lit up right now. Rudy's manning it right now, so Rudy has a task ahead for him. Coming up next, we're going to be your turn in just a few seconds.
Secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grey Skull, I subscribe to Spurs in Focus."
All right, can you take Mumra one-on-one? That's a big boy. A big boy.
No, I could not take Mumra. I would die against Skeletor. You know what? There's only one character I know for a fact that I could whoop on, and that would be Cobra Commander.
See, for me, I can whip on Orko. I can probably do that. No, he has magic though. He has magic.
Orko has magic, man.
That's right.
Ain't withstand. Now, for me, Cobra Commander, I can definitely take Cobra Commander. He's a little scrawny guy.
Yeah.
I can definitely take Cobra Commander. Mumra, I'm dead. There's no way.
He'll just body you. He's just basically Shaq coming at you.
Hey, we've discussed it on a past episode. Mumra was not a villain.
That's right. Yeah.
He's not a villain. I mean, he's the bad guy in Thundercats, but if you think about it, he's not a villain.
You really think about it. Yeah. Who whose land? Who went to whose property and said, no, it's mine? It wasn't Mumra.
Exactly.
It was the cats. By the way, quick little nerd moment, because we're not going to do a nerd segment here, but just I highly recommend to you, Rudy, you can get it online and just read it online. You have to go buy it. There's this new comic book series.
Okay.
It is incredible. I already read online the first few books. There is a series, Thundercats versus Silverhawks, and it is phenomenal. And it is the Hawks that are the bad guys.
Yeah.
And they are
very
militaristic, totally against, they just see black and white. That's all they see. And this Quicksilver, the main guy, he is a bad dude. He's a bad dude. And Lino, they go one-on-one. And you need
to text it to me so I can look it up. But
it is incredible. I mean, I was shocked how well written it was, how well scripted it was, the details of it, the drawings of it, the storyboard of it, and they even introduce a new Hawk, and he's even badder. He's a bad man. I mean, it is so good. And you get to see Lino kind of still young and letting leadership get to his head, and he's not a good guy with his crew. He's really not. It is a phenomenal comic series, Thundercats versus Silverhawks. If you can get it, go read it right now. It's online.
I'll read it. I'm going to take it out. And I want to say real quick, because I know we're going to move on, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, but Artist Jim is saying Mumra ain't a villain. Artist Jim, you got to go and read in depth about Thundercats, because it's true. Mumra's portrayed to be the villain because he's protecting his world against the Thundercats who came in to his world. And I mean, it's a crazy story that doesn't ever really come out. We got into nerd talk, and everybody's coming into nerd talk now. So I know we got
there we go. Yeah, everybody's joining in now. Mumra was 10 foot down. Hey, Darth, could you take Mumra one-on-one, or you're cooked?
I think Darth can. I went to school with Darth. I think he really can take Mumra. Cobra Commander 6'7".
I can see Cobra Commander whining at the refs like every single time.
Oh,
that's not a foul. That's not a foul. Curses. That's not a foul.
He's LeBron James. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Exactly. That's me. Where do you get your arts? I said Thundercats. Yeah. Artist Jim, I'm seriously just Google it right now. Thundercats versus Silverhawks. An amazing comic book art right now. I mean, if you really think about it, I think it's two big time different views of points. The cats, very peaceful, they want peace, belong to the earth, and The Hawks were cops, basically. They were just basically military cops.
Yep.
And that those two things clash. And it is. I'm getting chills. I'm thinking about some of the storyboards, the cutouts that popped out when I was reading that book. But anyway, all right. You're here for Spurs talk. Here we go. Spurs once again advanced to the Western Conference Finals, 139-101. Ended in 6 because I called it, not Rudy, just for the record. And
yes.
Rudy called it. Yeah, he called it in 6. I had it in 5, but Rudy called 6. Again, a dominant performance. Rewind in YouTube right now if you can. We go to individual players. We go to team stats.
Yeah.
We tell you some of the concerns. The biggest one is, again, letting the Wolves claw back. And I'm thinking of a Thundercats right now. Claw back into the game in the second period. But other than that, the Spurs just said, oh, okay, that's cute. Smack. And that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah.
But again, we play this game with Rudy, right? So we have 3 categories coming up. Turning point, standout stats, standout player. He doesn't know which I'm going to pick. So he's kind of like,
I have notes. Literally, I have no notes. So I do everything on the fly.
Yeah, he doesn't know which one I'm going to press. So he has to think quick. So, what's the first one we're going to hit him? Let's find out.
All right, standout players. I usually leave the easy ones for Jeff because I don't know ball, so I'm going to take the ones all the time. I got two of them, and one of them is a guy that contributed big time tonight without doing much, and I'm going to give him his love again. It's Carter Bryant, man. I mean, he came into the game, he guarded Anthony Edwards. I mean, he was switching off of his opponent. He was making Anthony Edwards work his tail off tonight.
Yes, he was
in the game. He was diving for loose balls. He was getting rebounds. He was making just the right plays at the right time. He was able to just be a menace. And comparable to a former Spur, when he plays defense, he moves similar to Bruce Bowen. And we remember how Bruce really was with San Antonio back in the day. I think Carter Bryant's going to be fighting for potentially starter minutes in the next couple of years. When I say that, I mean, he's not going to actually be a starter, but he could maybe be that Devin Vassell replacement on the starting five. But yeah, Carter Bryant in the OKC series, he's going to be huge. He's going to have to be the same way he is a past, especially with SGA, AJ Mitchell. I mean, they've got a lot of guys that Carter Bryant can defend too, as well as maybe even Chet Holmgren from time to time. So that's my first standout player. You probably assumed that I'm going to go with De'Aaron Fox.
I always do.
That's the easy
one.
You're
defending your guy. Defending your guy.
Me and De'Aaron Fox are like best of friends. We don't even know. We don't even know it yet.
He probably supplements the sports answer.
Yeah, we're best friends, and he don't even know it yet. No, Derek's more of a best friend to him than I am. But my standout player of the game is the rookie. It's the other rookie. It's Dylan Harper. 15 points off the bench, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. No fear in this kid's eyes ever. I mean, the concern was, the transition to the NBA. Guys, if you've heard me for the last year or so, I've been telling you this is the reason why Dylan Harper was number 1 on my draft board. He was my number 1 prospect because he is that NBA ready. He was ready to go prior to going to Rutgers. He only went to Rutgers because, you got to get a year in college under your belt. Yeah. So he is a player that he's the son of a star in the NBA, Ron Harper, who was one of the better two-way players in the league when he played. And Dylan came into the league ready to play from day one. San Antonio is blessed to have a player like Dylan Harper. Why? Because he was the missing piece to form the best trio of guards this league has ever seen. Let me repeat, ever seen. One NBA player that I've talked to says he can't name another trio of guards that he has ever seen in his years of basketball. So Dylan Harper is my standout player of the game. I think he's going to continue to improve throughout this playoff series. And again, 15 points doesn't seem like a lot, but it's huge because he makes it difficult for his opponents to guard him. Dylan Harper, you are my standout player of the night.
Could you throw in, as far as trio guards, that was some of the best? Clyde Drexler, Porter, and Drazen?
No. Drazen in Portland was not that good. He didn't get the playing time. Okay. Now, if he would have got the playing time, I could have maybe seen that. It was funny because I asked Derek, and Derek's like, there's nobody. And he goes, I'm even thinking Boston. I'm thinking the Lakers, the obvious ones. He goes, there is nobody, no trio of guards that has ever been assembled the way that these three guys play together. None. Yeah. Period.
Zilch. Who was with Mark Price and Steve Kerr? Who am I missing? Craig Elo?
It was Craig Elo, Mark Price, and Steve Kerr. Not even close because the defense. These guys, this trio plays both sides of the ball. That's so hard. And we got one mention here, and I'll give this. Jordan, Paxson, and Hodges? No, absolutely not. Never have you seen a trio of guards like Harper, Castle, and Fox. You could never find one that plays both ends of the court and that can dominate a game as well as they do.
What about the Thunder's guards?
So that would have been the closest one, but you're talking Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, and SGA. Lou Dort is a streaky shooter. Obviously,
you throwing McCain in there? No.
I wouldn't even throw McCain in there. You can maybe throw AJ Mitchell in there and maybe replace him with either Lou Dort or
I'll take out Lou Dort. Yeah.
But even if you go Caruso, AJ Mitchell, and SGA, Jeff, you're at a handicap with Caruso. I mean, AJ is not a really good defender either. So I mean,
okay, I got one.
Bring it on.
Stop me if you heard this one. What about Mitch Richmond, Hardaway, and not Drazen, Sharunas?
Well, the closest that we've seen is Hardaway, Richmond, and Mullen. That was the closest that
Sharunas was a part of that crew.
Sharunas was, but Sharunas was. He didn't. I don't think that would have worked. Sharunas was a true power forward. Mullen could have played the two.
He played a perimeter though. I mean, he really had a face-up game.
He did. That could be a close one. It goes back to Golden State. Golden State had the best assembly of three guys in the backcourt that could make it happen. You can interchange Mullen and Sharunas however you want. That could be the closest. And that was actually the only three guys that I could come up with. And Derek was like, yeah, that's probably the only three that he could come up with too. There's literally no other trio of guards that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a different Spurs team, man. It's different. It's scary different.
It is. It's very scary different. Yeah. Standout players. Well, quick. I know you mentioned Carter Bryant. Just real quickly, he had 3 points on the night. He was a plus 16 for the Spurs in those 13 minutes that he played, and hit a perimeter shot. Again, his 3 points right there. But he had 5 defensive rebounds, 1 offensive rebound, no turnovers. So yeah, he definitely did a good job. But yeah, Carter Bryant, I think he's definitely going to be key for the upcoming series versus OKC. But again, that's for a future episode coming up quick, because I think, by the way, everybody, OKC Spurs starts this freaking Monday.
I know.
It's that quick of a turnaround. And guess what? They're not going to be at home. So I think there's already been reports out there that the Spurs are going to fly back to San Antonio tomorrow, or technically today now after midnight.
They should be landing in a couple of hours, actually.
Yeah. They should be landing soon, and then they're probably going to get a breather and then take off to OKC, and they're going to be there for a few days before coming back to San Antonio. Remember, OKC has the home court advantage in this series, so keep that in mind, everybody. I'm going to do Rudy a favor. I'm going to pick De'Aaron Fox.
What?
As one of my 2 standout players.
Okay.
De'Aaron Fox, we all know what we did. 21 points on the night, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, a plus 26 for the game versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he scored 8 points in the pivotal third period to knock out the Wolves of the game. And by the way, perfect from the free throw line, 100%. So all in all, a great job. By the way, he had an effective field goal shooting of 95%. So keep that in mind. For me, I guess the obvious is obviously Steph Castle, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists in 29 minutes, a plus 28 for San Antonio. All right, those are pretty easy, but at least we got all 3 of the guards in. So there's that. All 3 of the guards in. All right, so what is Rudy going to be in the hot seat next? Any, mini, miny, mo.
All right, standout stats. Well, I mean, I would easily say the final score, 139-109.
Yeah,
That's
easy.
Very unexpected. No, for me, the standout stat was 58-52, and that's the points in the paint. Seems a lot closer than, and you're probably thinking, man, there's so many stats out there. Why'd you pick this one? Well, the points in the paint were dominated by the guards, and that's what I really liked to see. I mean, in a world of NBA big men where you had Randall, Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert, these guards were not intimidated by any type of height or physicality. They got to the basket. De'Aaron Fox was in the paint majority of the night. Stephon Castle did most of his damage outside of those 3-point shots. He was in the paint most of the night. Dylan Harper getting to the basket. It was just a dominant performance, and it's rare to say that, Wemby is the only one dominating the point. Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be the only one dominating the point for most nights. But when your guards are getting to the basket and getting easy buckets, every night's going to be a long night for that opposing team. As you can see with Minnesota, they just could not keep them out of the paint. For me, I picked the points in the paint 58-52 as my standout stat, because I'm going to circle that every single game in the Western Conference Finals. OKC is one, if not the best teams to keep guards out of the paint. So that's my big standout stat. Spurs need to continue it, and that's what I'm going with tonight.
Yeah, I got 2 of them for you. We already hit it on the head earlier. Rebounding 60-29 in favor of the Spurs. It was just so lopsided. That tells me they were having the second efforts. They were the ones wanting to control the game. That's total control of the game. Just out rebounding by that type of a margin, 60 to freaking 29. Mm-hmm. That was the final rebounding stats. Total Spurs, and that's even again a team that has Naz Reid, a big boy, Randall, Gobert. So I mean, they just really cleaned the glass versus Minnesota, which I got to be honest, it was a little surprising for me for that type of a gap there. I did not expect that at all for the Spurs to be that dominant on the boards. And again, we hit on this earlier, but we got to highlight it again. Standout stat for me, 68. Again, the combined points of Harper, Castle, and Fox for the game. 68 points combined for a plus 70 on the night. Those three guys collectively scored 41 points in the first half and 27 in the second half. So, I mean, you cannot stress that enough, just how potent the stats prove it these trio of guards are. All right, and then the final one, we already know what it is.
Is this one that we agree on? When
I think so. I think if I know where you're going, yeah. I think I know where you're going.
Second quarter, the T-Wolves, they clawed back and they brought it back down to a 12-point lead, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then the Spurs just said, you know what, enough's enough.
Oh, that's cute. Smack.
Yeah, that's cute. You know, thanks for showing up here. I'm gonna throw a little bit of a wrench in the turning point here. And that was when De'Aaron Fox went out with that ankle injury. Because I don't know. I mean, but I was also wondering about other Spurs fans because that could have been a turning point, not only in a game, but in a series as well. If De'Aaron Fox goes out with an ankle injury, now you're relying on Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle to play extra minutes and be that more extra. Remember, Stephon Castle can get into foul trouble pretty early. So knowing that De'Aaron was fine, he came back, he ended up finishing the game. That was a turning point for me that he was okay. No problems whatsoever. I'm sure the ankle's going to be sore, but that's kind of one where I thought, okay, that could have been a turning point, not only for the game, but for the series as well. I mean, because if Minnesota clawed back and ended up getting a W and you're without De'Aaron Fox, there's no telling how Game 7 goes. So the 12-point lead that they were able to get to, that was probably the biggest turning point because the Spurs after that, I could have just turned off my TV and just followed the game on ESPN stats. It was that kind of a boring of a game, but I had to get something, and it was that right there. Pretty much that's it. Other than that, I mean, Ant saying goodbye with 8 minutes to go in the game.
That was a good turning point. Yeah,
that was a great turning point for Minnesota fans. I'm sure they're like, "What the hell is going on?" But that was it for me.
For me, the turning point was that run from that Minnesota did, not because it put the scare in everybody, because I think it was a little bit of a wake-up call for the Spurs to like, hey, snap out of it. You know, this is the real deal. This is a closeout game. Wake up. And boy, did they wake up. So I think for me, that was a turning point. Little dose of reality for the young Spurs that say, hey, yes, you are ahead on the series, but this is still a dangerous team.
Yeah.
Minnesota proved it. The Spurs, did not help themselves in that second period whatsoever. If you look at some of the numbers in that second period when the Wolves were coming back, barely escaped the second quarter, 38-34. But, you know, the Wolves were just really, really making them pay. You know, hit 3 3-pointers in that second period. They were shooting great, at least for their standards, because they were having a bad offensive games of late, 42% shooting. But what was different was 6 offensive rebounds. They had no turnovers in that second period. My point is that, I think that was a good wake-up call for the young Spurs because, you know, I feel like this is going to be on like a repeating record here. But, you know, in Portland, we said in the Portland series, said, oh, can't do that versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. They'll make you pay. You know, you can fast forward now. Well, you can't let your foot off the gas because guess what? The Thunder are probably going to take advantage of that and not stop until they are well ahead. Yeah. So again, lessons learned through every series. And as Victor Wembanyama said after the win, he said pretty much, he says like he's already learning how each of the level competitive goes up. He said from Portland to Minnesota, it was a leap. And he said this, he goes, from Minnesota to Oklahoma City, he goes, it's going to be a big leap. So he didn't say just a leap. He says it's going to be a big leap in competitiveness. And guess what? That OKC team is well rested. They're like, hey, we don't have to travel. We don't have to get on a flight. We're good. We're settled in from our series versus the Lakers. So we've been planning for you, game planning for you. So, yeah, that level of competitiveness is going to really, really show in game 1 on Monday. Yeah, such a great, great night. But we cannot end the show without talking to you guys, the Spurs in Focus fans. I've been watching it. This is Rudy's job on the show. He manages the comments, but he might have a tall task ahead of him. Because do I read that number right, Rudy? That's how many people are wanting to chime in right now?
Yeah, we got a ton of comments in.
All right, bring it on.
I'm going to get one real quick that just came in, and it's from Darth, one of our supporters here. He brought up a really good point, and I had to double take this, Jeff. He didn't remember the Spurs having a steal. It was just a total defensive dominance. And he's right. The Spurs only had 2 steals compared to Minnesota's 9.
Yeah.
It seemed like the Spurs had a whole lot more steals tonight, but they did not. That is a great point by Darth. I appreciate that comment right here. Another one that just came in. SGA will likely be awarded second MVP. Wemby has that MJ attitude, which is using anything as a whiteboard material. Now, just an FYI, I got the announcement right now that the MVP is going to be awarded this Sunday before the Cavs and Pistons game. So tune into that. Will Wemby win it? We'll see. We'll do on that. The goodbye was an amazing turning point. That's when we knew it was over. Let me get to the beginning. CV was in here. He says, we made him quit.
They did.
From the start, according to Tim Gonzalez. This lady's been stalking me for the longest time.
Don't marry her. Yeah, you're a meter. Yeah, bad idea.
Guys, she's been stalking me forever, at least for the past 20 years. You really don't know what you're talking about.
It's in his name, Gina. It's in his name. Don't know basketball.
Apparently so, but
don't know ball.
I think Ant-Man is contemplating Fox's plan and forcing a Wemby Ant-Man pairing. I don't think the Spurs would take on.
I don't think so either.
And that would be way too much money. You'd have to give up a guy like Harper and Castle for more than like that. The guy's going to have a huge welcome when they arrive at 2:30 in the morning. Gina's back in here says that win was mind-blowing. People are celebrating. Jeff and Rudy, we're heading to the Western Conference Finals. Jacob is saying on to the next.
Absolutely.
We got a whole lot.
Wait, Jacob, are you doing okay overseas?
Yeah, he's overseas now. Grading the market. You know what? Grading the market. I got a text earlier that it might go international. I can't believe that.
Look at that.
We may have an international show here.
He showed me some like weird Wemby magazine out in the country that he's in right now. I was like, I started to go, what is that? Because I don't speak the language there. And he had to explain it to what it was to me.
Yeah. Well, apparently we might get some grading the market international style. We made Jaden McDaniels look like an all-NBA, no defense.
Absolutely.
Tim was asking, he says, I want to know from both Jeff and Rudy what pinpoint having you seen Harper improve or grown since his Rutgers days and from his first game against the Mavericks from opening night. So what improvements have you seen from Dylan Harper when he got drafted by San Antonio? And again, his first night as a Spur against the Mavericks.
For me, it's just his ability to break down defenses. That's really, really blossomed so much. You know, we all know the game plan, right? What does Harper like to do? Get in the paint. That's all he does. But it's how he is so crafty in the paint, finishing with the left, finishing with the right. And even if he gets jammed up and somebody does stop him, he'll figure a way to dance around you and get the best shot available. So for me, that's been the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think for me, you know, considering how I scouted him a little bit and I did his prospect stuff, the biggest thing I had was, and the biggest concern was, could he lead an NBA team? And he's proven that he can. He can lead an NBA team. I know he's just a rookie, but it kind of reminds me of when Tony Parker was given the reins
that's a good comparison.
To the San Antonio Spurs by Pop. Eventually, you're probably going to give Harper the reins to this team, and he commands this team probably better than Tony did when he took over. I think Dylan Harper biggest question was, okay, you're a point guard, which is the absolute toughest position to play in the NBA because you've got to be in command of everything. And he's done a phenomenal job of that. He's not scared of the big moment. He's proving why he's going to be a superstar in this league. And that was my only concern. And he's passed with it. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm with you too. All right. What's the next one we got?
Let's see. We got a bunch here. Rudy doesn't even know how to spell basketball. I guess not. Sith is in here. Says, go Spurs, go.
Exactly. Go Spurs, go.
Dart's saying, I can't believe I'm saying this, but OKC has stronger bigs in the post. Yes, Wemby is better overall. What OKC? The Spurs will need to rely on Plumlee more in this coming series. Great comment.
Plumlee's ready for that.
Well, great comment because, again, you've got Jalen Williams. You've got Isaiah Hardenstein, and then you've got Chet Holmgren. So you've got three players that are predominantly very good big men. I mean, Chet's probably going to be all NBA this season. The Spurs have Cornette and Wemby. They can use Keldon. They can use Carter Bryant. But do we maybe see an Olynyk or a Plumlee just to kind of maybe just get some fouls somewhere, make it a little bit tougher?
And Lou Dort, even though he's undersized, he does play a big position a lot. So
he does. I like that comment because there's a possibility we end up maybe
the Spurs can sign Mumra.
Oh God. Maybe so. Maybe so. Silver Wolf, another person he's always been on our shows. I appreciate the support. Says, good evening, good Spurs evening, gents. Wow, what a game from the entire team. Game 6, as it always is. And well, let's go Spurs. Could have been a sweep easy. I don't know about the sweep part. I knew Minnesota was at least guaranteed.
I think they could have gotten a sweep. I think they could have gotten a sweep. Yeah.
Says that they just bowed down to the more superior team. To be honest, OKC does have enough power to stop the Spurs when they're playing. Spurs playing ball, 2 defenders on Wemby, and they still have 3 guards, Vassell and Julius. So, yeah, I mean, OKC is going to be a concern for a lot of teams. There's no doubt about that. They're going to be a major concern. Minnesota had only 5 turnovers. I talked about that earlier, how definitely Minnesota didn't have a whole lot of turnovers compared to the Spurs. The Wolves the West Coast will be on NBC and Peacock, so that'll be good. I have YouTube mentioned it again. Harper goes downhill as in total control. Yeah, and that's the thing with Dylan. I mean, there was nothing. It's very rare when I look in and I do my NBA draft prospects. It's very rare that I look at a player and I say, "There's really nothing I can find to pinpoint as to." Well, that's not going to make him a star in the league. That's not going to make him a star in the league. The only concern I had was the leadership quality at Rutgers that he had. He was able to lead them. If I remember correctly, Rutgers didn't even make the March Madness. So they had a struggle, but I don't think it had anything to do with Dylan. Dylan was injured that entire Rutgers season just about. So it's coming into the NBA. Is the NBA ready? Yes. Is he ready to lead an NBA? Was the only question I have. His playing ability, I mean, the kid was playing man basketball in high school. So there was no concerns for me on that at all. But, yeah, I mean, those are the comments we got, Jeff. And, I mean, again, 320 plus all night. So
I'll take it. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
What am I saying? Ask you. I'll say what I'm feeling. How's that? Why am I feeling like a really good fight's going to happen between these two teams?
That's not a very bad feeling. You got
I have this feeling like in one of these games, tempers are going to flare up, and here we go. I can see that happening because I think these two teams are going to go at each other, like not literally, but proverbially to try to kill each other on the court.
I don't want to. I'm not gonna poop on the parade. I'm not, but I will say that the Wemby elbow on Naz Reid will play an effect with OKC because they saw how the Spurs, they took that elbow and were like, okay, they know that the one thing to get Wemby rattled is to be physical with him. You saw it happen with Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels. He elbowed Naz Reid, basically took Wemby out of the game. Oklahoma City is a physical team, Jeff, but they are a high basketball IQ, very smart basketball team. You don't think Lou Dort is going to make a dirty play. He does it all the time. So my biggest fear is that Wemby will maybe lose his cool again. And then there you go. There's a serious shift if something happens. Because remember, he's not going to get off light this time. There probably would be a suspension. There's definitely going to be a fine. And that's what I'm trying to say is my biggest concern in this series is the physicality towards Wemby. It's probably going to be worse. And they saw what happened against Minnesota. Yeah. They're going to use it to their advantage, man.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Real quick, and I'm also not going to try to rain the parade, but Let me ask you something. Something I observed in
Mhm.
Game 6, especially in Game 5. Did it feel like a lot of the calls are going the Spurs' way? And I bring this up because take for
Game
example, Game
5?
6. Game 5 and Game 6. What I mean by that, and I'm going to look at Game 6 just because it's more fresh in my
Yeah.
memory.
Mhm.
There was a play where clearly Castle threw a forearm at
Yes.
McDaniels.
Yes.
And then, but they called it on McDaniels. And then in Game 5, I don't know. My guess is counted, but there was a Spur player that pretty much manhandled a Wolves player, and they said the foul was on the Wolves. I'm not going to conspiracy route, but feels like the NBA really wants OKC and San Antonio in the West Finals, and they got it.
No, I mean,
no, okay.
So
maybe I was reading too much in there, but it was, but you know, remember that because I would react. Because I would react.
There's obvious fouls. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
There are obvious fouls, but it was on both sides. I mean, you saw Minnesota with Randall just chicken wing every single time he drove to the basket. Never got a foul called on him for that, for the offensive foul. Yes, I do see what you said. There was a lot of missed calls, but as a coach for many, many years, one thing the officials has always told my players was, if you attack the basket and you get physical, we're gonna let it go. I mean, we're gonna let it go. It's basketball. It has to be clear cut, obvious, and it's kind of weird because we complain that we're not getting physicality in the league anymore. Oh my God, it's touch fouls. I mean, but then when physicality happens,
we're talking OKC, the floppers.
Oh yeah, OKC flopping Thunder. I mean, I know we're gonna get that, but that's what I'm saying. We want more physicality, but then when we get more physicality, you have more players raising their, and even the Spurs do it. They all raise their hands like, "Where's the foul? Where's the foul?" If the ref didn't blow the whistle, get your butt down on the defensive side and play some defense. Who cares if the foul was called or not? Leave that to the coaches to fight for that. I mean, that's what I've always been taught. But that's the thing. It's going to be a physical series. It's going to be a big time series. I think I've got them in 7, but a part of me says I think it's going to be like a 6-game series. But it's a toss up. It's a toss up.
I have the series going 7 and it being a toss up.
Yeah,
as of now, I don't know because it's just me. This Thunder team looks a lot different than they did in the regular season, and I don't know if that's because they have a lack of strength of schedule in the postseason. You know, cupcake Phoenix team, a cupcake Lakers team.
Exactly.
You know, making it look like, wow, this team is a juggernaut. But they do look on point. They haven't lost a game in the freaking postseason. But again, they played Phoenix. They played the Lakers. So,
well, it's like I said, OKC Phoenix was Oklahoma City against our beloved, school, Central Catholic. And then they played, OKC and the Lakers. The Lakers were like Our Lady of the Lake. I mean, there was no chance for any of these teams at all to beat OKC. Different team coming in with San Antonio. They played both sides of the ball. Before we go, let me ask you this now, because this might even intrigue you here. Is there a possibility that we may see a low-scoring game because of defense?
No.
Now, when I'm saying low, I'm not talking 88 to 84 like old days. I'm talking maybe like a 104 to 101 or 104 to 99. Do we possibly see that? Because man, these two teams play hard-nosed defense, dude.
I'm going to say yes. I think I'm going to go that way. But again, I can also see it going high scoring because these two teams are potent that way. I believe what he was going to play. Who plays the best defense is going to win this series. And on paper, defensive rating, I believe the Thunder have the best in the NBA playoffs. I'm going to double check that right now.
Yeah, they do.
So, actually, no, it's the Spurs.
Oh,
the Spurs have the number 1 defensive rating right now at 103.9. Let me just double check the Thunder here. 103.9 for the Spurs, and the Thunder, they have a defensive rating. Oh, they're 6th in the NBA in the playoffs at 110.7. But again, does it go back to strength of schedule or lack of? They didn't need to play that much defense against Phoenix because they were Phoenix. Lakers. Maybe a little, but not too much. No, I don't know. I don't know. I know the game's Monday, but I think this series goes 7, man.
let me give Spurs fans a little hope here. There was a couple of games, I think games 3 and 4 against the Lakers. The Thunder did struggle in those games. And there was even I
In
think
the
early
last
in
game,
game
right?
2. Yeah, especially
Closeout
the
game.
last game. They struggled against the Lakers in a couple of those games. The Spurs are leaps and bounds better than the Lakers. So again, that's why I've been telling a lot of people I don't Oklahoma City this year just doesn't have that same championship feel like they did a year ago. And Thunder fans are going to kill me for this, but go back and look at the finals. They probably don't win a title if Halliburton doesn't get hurt. I mean, Indiana was in complete control of that series, man. So OKC, yeah, they are your defending champs, but they are a Halliburton injury away from possibly not being NBA title winners last year. And that says a lot. I mean, this year, again, they dominated the regular season this year, go into the playoffs. They're not really playing anybody until now. Now they get a team that has been battle tested. And I'm hoping the Spurs expose them because then I can change it to Rudy knows ball and not doesn't know ball. But there's a couple of comments before we go, man. Jeff
Yeah.
wants to see a wrestling match. And I told you, they used to call me that back in high school.
The
Jeff,
booty.
I ain't going Rudy the Booty Campos. That was my name. Austin Williams on X is in here. Congrats, Spurs fans. It's good to see you back on top from a Nuggets fan. Much love, man. You gotta love those Nuggets fans, man. Nikola Jokic, all these guys out there.
I really did want to see Joker versus Wemby, though. I was kind of hoping for that.
I did too, because I took the Nuggets to win the title this year.
Yeah, we know why you wanted it. Yeah.
That would have been awesome. I think the Spurs beat OKC at least once at home. OKC, that's a good one. 111, 110, maybe Thunder Rusty. Real quick before we go, Jeff, last question. How important is game 1 for San Antonio?
Oh, huge. So first of all, they go to extremes now. So if they get smacked up, then that I hope it doesn't hurt their high psyche. I don't think it will, but that could send a strong message to the Spurs of, hey, we're the kings around here, not you.
Yeah.
If it's a slim loss, I think there's hope with that.
Mm-hmm.
You take that into game 2. If they win, well, I think that's just cherry on top there because it just goes back to the regular season.
Yeah.
We dominated this team. But again, I don't think Jalen Williams played any of the games versus the Spurs. I don't think he played any of the games.
AJ Mitchell didn't play, I don't think. And then I think
Jeremy
Kane just played the last game against San Antonio.
And then one game doesn't even count because there was a bunch of bench players, like their second unit played the whole game. Yeah. So again, we're gonna look into Spurs Thunder.
Yeah, we're not giving
it too much. We're gonna go into player matchups, series preview. How the Spurs got here, how the Thunder got here. We'll look back at the regular season and then ask the big question, does that even matter at this point, the regular season? Mitch Johnson said that after the game, said the regular season doesn't really count right now going into the OKC Thunder series. So, again, we're going to have that all covered for you this upcoming week. Again, Monday night, game 1, Spurs at Thunder. So just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully a win would come. I'm nervous for this series. This is the series that everybody wanted. This is a series that all fans, just NBA fans, basketball fans, could be salivating about.
Don't be scared.
We'll see. We'll see. Rudy's scared. He doesn't want to admit it.
Scared. I am
he's scared of the Thunder. If I put a Thunder jersey in front of him, he's going to go around the table and cringe and cuddle up on the bed because he's scared of the Thunder. All that good stuff. All right. We have time for one more comment?
Sure. Let me see what we got here. We had one.
Pick the best one.
The best comment. Oh my God.
All right. Well,
you know what? I mean, we got to all of them. The latest one that came in, I believe the first 4 games will be the visiting team will win. Okay. We got.
Oh, you mean wait, what?
I guess Spurs win the first 2, Thunder win the next 2.
Oh, I see.
So Austin's back in here. He says, "How do we feel about SGA flopping? Does that
very big time? Yeah, that takes out the guards quickly for San Antonio, or any defender who's on them.
Man,
so, I can see Castle getting in foul trouble quick.
Yeah, and I see that too. But is this a game? This is so tough, and I think I can't really answer about the SGA flopping because we've seen it all year in the past couple of years. It's a reason why he's an MVP. because he gets the free throw line, quadrillion times. But
It's a quadrillion.
But floppy, man, you're talking about the Western Conference Finals. I don't know if the refs are going to buy into it too much. I think he gets a few calls, but I don't think they really buy into it as much as a lot of people think. I'm just going to go out on a limb there and say they probably don't. Reason why is because, again, you had a superstar like Anthony Edwards, and he didn't get a whole lot of calls against San Antonio. So maybe against OKC, the refs do swallow the whistle again. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough to say.
So yeah, it's going to be an exciting series, everybody. Again, if we didn't get to your comments, we'll definitely get you the next live one. Let's see if you guys really think since Spurs on this. No, the Spurs talk smack if you watch the game. The Spurs, they do. Oh no, sorry. Did they say getting smacked? Okay. I think I could probably see that happening at least in one game.
Oh, so, I almost expect them to lose by 20 in one game.
Yeah, there's going to be a game where it's going to be lopsided. Look, even the mighty Tim Duncan Spurs-led teams got blasted in Detroit in the finals. I mean, absolutely just crushed by the Pistons. So it can happen to those guys. It can happen to these guys. So, again, great comments, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll be back likely on Monday night after the game. Versus the Thunder. Hopefully the Spurs will win. We shall see. But again, we appreciate y'all staying up late with us after a closeout game. Once again, your San Antonio Spurs. Well, they send the Minnesota Timberwolves on vacation. I wonder where they probably go to Cancun somewhere. I guess it's kind of get to go on vacation. I guess there's that. But this 139-109, your final score. Spurs win the series 4-2. They'll play the Thunder next Monday night in OKC. 7:30 tip on NBC Peacock, so keep that in mind. But we'll be here after the game to talk how things went after game one. Don't forget to subscribe to Spurs in Focus on iTunes, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, obviously YouTube itself. You want to subscribe right now. We appreciate it. Spurs in Focus Substack, completely free. You don't have to pay a dime. Go be part of the crew. Just hit subscribe and you're in. A lot of content there. You can find out if you're living in San Antonio, where you can find some of the best freebies, including free pizza after a Spurs playoff win. Go find out right now where you can go cash in on that and so much more. Rudy, I know you're going to be busy at the answer, aren't you?
Yeah, man, we've got Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. Definitely talking about that. We'll probably go live for Sports Answer again sometime next week. We may have Jeff on. See if we can get Derek on. But football season, man, I hate to change the channel, but football season's coming up. The schedule just got released yesterday. Well, 2 days ago because it's already tomorrow. But we'll get into all that.
I love the Chargers or the Chargers. The Halo theme one was great.
Oh yeah. The schedule releases are always fun to watch. But we'll get into football talk and just more NBA, man. I mean, Derek loves talking about NBA, and we talked to WNBA today. So just great conversations on the Friday Drive on the Sports Answer. You can catch me and Derek and sometimes Jeff on there Friday on the Sports Answer, Answer Now TV.
Yeah, exactly. Again, follow Rudy on X at The Sports Answer. Probably the best way to catch up on all things that he's got going on right there. Again, that's on X at The Sports Answer. Mr. Campos, we appreciate it for your staying up super late with us here on Spurs in Focus live episode. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia. Make sure to follow me on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Once again, YouTube, subscribe right now. We appreciate it. And Substack, go do it and check out all the stuff we have coming up for you. So a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about on the Substack side with Rudy on Spurs in Focus, because we got a Western Conference Finals to talk about Spurs Thunder in the coming days. Stay tuned for that. So for Mr. Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia, and now you're in focus with Spurs in Focus.